Hello, I am doing the alternative final exam, and I will be answering the 4 questions provided to me. So question 1 states to describe a phylogenetic tree of our choice. I chose to do animal phylogeny. So before I even start talking about this tree, right here would be the ancestral protist, and it was a chenoflagellate. She's called the sister protist. She's the sister to all animals. And there's 3 lines of evidence. There's similarities with sponges, and they have similar cells, like collar cells that exist in other animals and jellies. They are not found in other protist plants or fungi. That's kind of cool. And we can tell from DNA sequence data. So, starting with sponges, they are parazoans. They do not have any tissues. Moving on, we have the cnidaria and the ctenophorans, and they exhibit radial symmetry, which means that if you cut them in half, they wouldn't have right, left, front, or back ends. So it's like taking a circle and just cutting it in half a million times, and it would still be, symmetrical on both sides. So moving past the radiata, I believe that's how you say this, we come to the flatworms, the nematodes, the mollusks, annelids, and the arthropoda. And they're all protostomes, meaning that they form mouth first, not anus. So exclusive to the flatworms, they are acoelomates. They do not have a coelom. A coelom is a fluid-filled cavity, and it surrounds the heart, lungs, and the stomach, and the digestive organs. Excuse me. Okay, so coelomates are exclusively triploblasts, I believe. Triploblasts have 3 tissue types, and diploblasts have 2. Yes. In triploblasts, they have a coelom, and they have the mesoderm, which is it forms the structures in this and suspends the organs. Sorry, I'm a little boggled. So, for nematodes, it says pseudocoelomates. I am assuming that this is a mix. So, there may be some in this category that they are coelomates or they're not coelomates, or some may just not even follow the rule. So, moving past nematode is mollusk, annelids, and arthropods. They are also protostomes, and these guys have a coelom, so they are triploblasts. So that means they not only do they have their ectoderm and endoderm, they have their mesoderm. Moving past the arthropods, we have this lophophorates. That's what they're called, and yep, these are all coelomates. I didn't see this. So, this is a mixed characteristic. Okay, I'm gonna move on here. In echinoderms, starfish, and fish chordates. Chordates aren't just exclusively fish, but these guys, they are deuterostomes, meaning that they form anus first and not mouth. These guys are mouth first. So, they definitely have a coelom that forms from the embryonic gut. So this isn't the full animal phylogenetic tree, so I don't have mammals, but this is like the beginning. I really like this. I like the idea that there's diploblasts and triploblasts and protostomes and deuterostomes. That's very interesting to me. Moving on to question 2. I decided to do my life histories on rodents. So he was my hamster. His name was Simon. He passed away. These are all old photos. This is Rizzo. She passed away. This is Audrey. She is still living. This is Aries. He is still living. And this is Stan. He passed away. But I have a hamster. I have rats. I have an albino rat. And I have a winter white Russian dwarf hamster. So it is speculated that rodents originated in Asia because they first showed up on the fossil record, that it was near Asia, but they also found some in North America. So murids, or the family called Muridae, they gave rise to present-day Norway rats, hamsters, gerbils, dwarf hamsters, all those good animals. Rodents are selected. I am focusing mostly on rats for heteroparity versus similarity. Rats can have, in one litter, they can have anywhere from 10 to 12 different pups. I don't know why I said different, excuse me. Anywhere from 10 to 12 pups, and female rats can have up to 17 litters a year. So that means up to 204 pups a year. I looked into this, and rats, while they are selected, I would consider them heteropairs, because similpairs reproducing species typically die after their single reproduction, like salmon. When they spawn, they die. Rats can have multiple reproductions, and typically they do care for the young. Rats have an early reproduction because rats are mature sexually at about 4 weeks of age. I also looked at the survivorship curve, and I would say that they are type 2. Elephants would be type 1 because they have later reproduction and they have very few offspring. Type 3 would be, I would say, like a seahorse. They can have up to 2,000 babies and less than 10 of them survive and make it to adulthood. So I would say rats are type 2. There's always exceptions in nature, though. And some interesting rat behavior. I have rats, so they're cool. They're kind of like dogs. You can like teach them their name, give them treats. I've seen videos of like this woman. She like taught her rat to like, you know, pick up a ball and put it through the hoop and spin around, or you know, jump from the bed to the chair. Very cool things. They are very social. They are very social. They're very loving, and they're great pets, but not just pets, but in nature they're pretty cool too. In the wild, I should say. So question 3 was about human evolution. This is a picture of me, and this is my mother's mother and my father's mother right here. So I looked at this thing called the grandmother hypothesis, and it states that it explains why women live past childbirthing age. Now, this is just a hypothesis. This is still being looked at. This is not a theory. This is not set in stone. None of that. So I found this little paragraph from nature.com. It's a science journal. And this is talking about during the hunting and gathering days, while men were the hunters and women were the gatherers. So it says mothers faced a trade-off between gathering food for themselves and their young and caring for new infants. So they had to either pick one or the other. But grandmothers would help with foraging. So since grandmothers were helping with the gathering of food, this way the mother was able to help wean these young babies, and this would give the grandmother healthier and heavier grandchildren that would survive and make it to reproductive age. So over evolutionary time, this fitness boost could have selected for women to survive past menopause. So it's just a hypothesis. They speculate that women think they survive long after menopause is because to help with the grandchildren. So the grandchildren would be more likely to be successful in life and reproduce and eventually pass her longevity traits down the line. It's just a hypothesis. And then question 4 is climate change. Is it real or fake? And defend your position. So according to this chart, these are the carbon dioxide levels, and it says 0 right here equals 1950. And this is the current level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And read this. For centuries, atmospheric carbon dioxide had never been above this line. Here's the line. You can see we almost hit it here. That's a long time ago. Anyhow, we're here right now. And people say, oh, well, the climate changing is natural. Yeah, I see right here. This right here, that's not natural. That's never happened before. And I got this picture from NASA. And I think NASA knows what they're talking about. Also, according to NASA, temperature has risen 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit since 1880. The sea levels have increased 3.2 millimeters per year. 3.2 millimeters per year. I didn't know if I said that right. Ice sheets have decreased by 413 gigatons per year, and there has been an increase of 409 parts per million of carbon dioxide. It's very frustrating to me that people aren't taking this serious, and they think they don't have to take responsibility. Also, if you read the news or read the newspaper, you watch the news and political networks, the Trump and his administration left the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement, it was like a treaty to help try to stop increasing or decreasing fluctuating climates, and to adopt healthier ways for the planet, and to help refurnish the planet, because this planet has gone through too much. So the fact that the leader of the United States left the agreement, it's very embarrassing. I mean, people look at the United States and we're supposed to be a role model. Everyone should try to be a role model for others. And it just says to everyone that, like, we don't care. And that's really embarrassing because a lot of people do care. I also believe that religious ideologies play a role in this ignorance for climate change. I believe people don't want to take responsibility, and I feel like that they don't have to. Maybe that's a little far-fetched, but people just don't want to take responsibility, and we need to. Religious or not, or science, you're not really towards science, or you are towards science, whatever the case, climate change is happening, and it's real, and there's a lot of evidence that shows it is human-caused. And even if it's not human-caused, it's still our home, and we need to take care of it. There's animals, there's species, there's plants. They all depend on Earth. So it is human. A lot of it is human driven, but even if it wasn't, it's still our home, and we need to take care of it. So that is the end of my alternative final and my questions. These are my references. Thank you for watching.